I looked that one up. I was gonna use it tonight, and I just came out.
Right.
Just video from September 11th. You have an idea.
There's no ICS system here. This is all self-assembled private ambulance coming in. Responding to help. Nothing but research.
We'll do that time, it's like a massive farm in this place.
Check that rat. What? Rat. Like.
It's longer.
That's it.
That was it. Whole incident was over in like 10 minutes.
Oh, Amber.
So out of curiosity, in a situation like that on 9/11,
Yeah.
what happened when all your resources are completed to one area for so long?
Everything was scattered. Well, and they lost resources.
Yeah,
Yeah, 385 or 400 firefighters died
yeah.
when the towers collapsed.
I seen it.
I mean, just didn't have, it. We just don't have the resources. 911 system was all kinds of problems. Yeah, it was bad. Real bad.
Did you ask me if I responded?
Huh?
Did you ask me if I responded?
Yeah, you were there, right?
No.
What?
Funny story though.
I was on a strike team in Butte County and we were getting demoed. And I spent the entire day of September 11th with 200 other engines sitting in a Costco parking lot because they thought San Francisco was going to get hit.
Wow.
Because there were still 20,000 unaccounted for aircraft
And
until they grounded everything. Huh?
Say 20,000.
Yeah, worldwide. Yeah, aviation's a.
it's that.
There's your patient.
Yeah.
Go catch that patient.
Oh.
2001.
A grenade of fire, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So national education standards. You should know the roles and responsibilities in a weapons of mass destruction situation, which is what we're going to teach you about. And risks and responsibilities of when you're on scene of that. Any questions so far? Hopefully, you'll never be called to respond to a terrorist event. However, there is a very good likelihood that you might. Any questions? One of the biggest things to be aware of, which hasn't happened here yet, but happens a lot in the Middle East and in other countries, they've intercepted it every time here, is they do what's called a two-stage. They do a small incident, like they blow up a bus or something, or attack somebody. And then they wait till all the emergency responders get in, and then they detonate the big one, and it takes out the entire infrastructure. Fortunately, that's never happened here, but they do, it's been done in many other places. Like they'll walk into a mosque with a dynamite vest, and everyone runs outside. The guys are waiting outside with automatics, and they mow everybody down with steps. So terrorists have been going. Bless you. For as long as we've had emergency services. The majority of it is in the Middle East. Over 95% of terrorist acts are religious based. There are other ones though. There are single issue groups. In the United States, the majority of terrorist attacks have come from domestic terrorism. Yeah, so far. We're gonna go over the different types of groups and things that have been successful in history, so you have an idea of what to look for and what to expect. Because generally, people in the future that are smart, and successful, build on the successes of people before them. Any questions? All right. One of the biggest threats, which you've already seen twice in the last year here, is technology terrorism. And when it takes down the entire cellular networks of the internet, there's a lot of people that have never worked in these fields without cloud-based technology. And having to go back to regular radios and paper PCRs and things like that can be extremely difficult when you've never done anything else. Any questions? That's why it's dinosaurs are still good for something. So this is where some circus bears attack. No, just kidding. What? No, those are circus. Those are the costumes they wear for, like, you know, characters at theme parks. Bears. No, just kidding. Those are hazmat suits. It's a good video.
With the ability to create destruction on a massive scale, they are some of the most feared weapons in the world. This is 5 things you don't know about WMDs. The phrase weapons of mass destruction is often used to refer to any nuclear, chemical, biological, or radiological device capable of creating destruction on an immense scale. However, when the expression was first coined, it was actually used in reference to conventional bomber aircraft. In May 1937, it was reported that German and Italian planes bombed the Spanish town of Guernica, killing more than 200 people in what was then described as one of the first raids on a civilian population by a modern air force. A few months later, Japan invaded China. In their first major engagement, the Battle of Shanghai, more than 3,000 civilians were killed in air raids. Shocked by these immense losses, the Archbishop of Canterbury coined the phrase by saying, "Who can think without horror of what another widespread war would mean, waged as it would be with all these new weapons of mass destruction?"
That should make you uncomfortable.
During the height of the arms race, the United States had more than 31,000 nuclear weapons in its arsenal. And with that many warheads, it's almost inevitable that a few accidents would occur. An important mishap took place in 1965 on board the carrier USS Ticonderoga. On December 10th of that year, an A-4E Skyhawk carrying a B-43 hydrogen bomb was preparing for takeoff when the aircraft suddenly rolled off the flight deck and plunged into the ocean. Not only was the pilot killed, but the aircraft and the nuclear bomb immediately sank some 16,400 feet to the bottom of the ocean, where they remain to this day. And while incidents such as this may seem extreme, it is actually just one example of the 11 known nuclear weapons that the United States has accidentally lost and never recovered. During the First World War, the introduction of modern chemical weapons such as chlorine and mustard gas was devastating. So when World War II erupted, all of the major combatants, except for Japan, opted to refrain from using chemical weapons on the battlefield. However, when it came time to invade Iwo Jima, military planners recognized just how brutal and costly the battle was going to be. And in an effort to curtail the projected losses, they actually proposed saturating the island with mustard gas. Of course, in the end, this proposal was ultimately rejected by President Franklin Roosevelt, and a large-scale amphibious assault was conducted instead. Anthrax was first employed as a deliberate weapon during World War I, when the German military was suspected of secretly using the bacteria to infect livestock intended for trade with allied nations. During World War II, the continued development of bioweapons such as anthrax spurred the creation of the United States Biological Weapons Program. Established in the spring of 1943 under direct orders from President Franklin Roosevelt, the highly classified program was a response to fears that the U.S. lagged behind Nazi Germany in the creation of bioweapons. Although none were ever deployed during the war, it is now known that the United States created more than 5,000 anthrax-filled bombs and had them ready to go in preparation for a retaliatory strike against Germany. America's chemical weapons program began in 1917 during the latter part of World War I, and from then until 1968, the U.S. produced nearly 40,000 tons of chemical weapons.
Thousands of pounds of lethal chemicals remain in land storage.
By the mid-1960s, however, public opposition to these types of weapons had caused the nation to start taking steps to reduce its stockpile. So between 1967 and 1970, as part of Operation Chase, which stood for Cut Holes and Sink 'em, the U.S. Department of Defense disposed of thousands of chemical weapons by loading them onto World War II-era Liberty ships and sinking them in the waters between Florida and the Bahamas. This included weapons such as mustard gas, VX nerve agent, and sarin-filled rockets. On March 13, 1968, American officials conducted several open-air tests of a chemical nerve agent at Dudway Proving Ground in Utah. These tests resulted in an incident that caused much public debate. Do you know what happened at Dudway? If so, post your answer below or reach out to us through Twitter using hashtag 5ThingsYouDon'tKnow.
Any questions? So weapon of mass destruction by definition is a weapon that can cause mass amounts of death, casualties, and damage to property and infrastructure. Got some acronyms there. Be nice, which there's nothing nice about these. Biological, nuclear, incendiary, chemical, and explosive. What is incendiary? Yeah. It's the reason why Tokyo didn't get nuked. There was nothing to nuke. They'd already dropped so many incendiary bombs on it and burned it to the ground. Any questions? And I don't even know how to pronounce that one, but chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive. Any questions? So throughout history, explosives have been the preferred, but there has been a lot of use of chemical agents, including vescents, respiratory agents, nerve agents, and metabolics. We're gonna go over some of those. And of course, viruses, bacteria, and toxins, which we're also gonna go over. There's only been 2 times nuclear weapons have been used. Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II. And there's always the fear of dirty bomb. So a dirty bomb is not a nuclear weapon, but it's nuclear waste detonated with an explosive device to make everyone give everyone radiology. Radioactive poisoning. So your basic foundation patient care is the same. However, you're gonna have to decontaminate if possible. Don't spread contamination. And if you recognize a terrorist event, you generally back out and organize. Any questions? They don't do the threat level from the Department of Homeland Security. That used to be a thing they did every day after September 11th. What the threat level was. They don't do that anymore. So observations you should make the type of locations. It's somewhere that terrorists would strike. Like, are terrorists going to strike COS? Probably no. The type of call, would they hit Shasta Dam? Absolutely. Pitt River Bridge? Absolutely. Number of patients, things people said, and of course, once again, pre-incident indicators. Is it a target? Any questions? So what do? Make sure it's safe. Don't become a victim. Stage in a safe area. Wait for the scene to try to become secure. And if there's any doubt, don't enter it. Stay uphill and upwind. Any questions? There's so many things wrong with that picture, I can't even start. That is a tanker of dihydrogen oxide. How bad is that?
Isn't like an AI is the thing that's an actual.
Now, that was done way before there was AI. This is from 2011. Is dihydrogen oxide bad? It kills more people a year than any other chemical. What? It is very dangerous. And said people, especially children, die from it. Hundreds to thousands a year. Huh? From exposure to it?
Like, obviously not in this situation. I mean, what's the most common?
Most common is overexposure. Submersion. You're submerged in dihydrogen oxide, you will die.
How do they get submerged in it? Where do you find that?
Where do you find it?
Yeah, like.
Covers 70% of the earth.
So you just like, been playing outside.
What is dihydrogen oxide? Di is what? 2?
2?
So 2 hydrogen oxides?
Yes.
And then are hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
What?
I think we got it down.
H2O.
Why couldn't you just
You're
sit
telling me
that?
that's a tank full of water.
No, I just made this shit up, but any questions?
I really want to.
Yeah, you can die from water toxicity. The lady, the We for a We contest, yeah. I don't know about that. You can drown in the toilet though. All right. Any questions about contamination? So if you suspect that it is a weapon of mass destruction or a terrorist incident, you should notify dispatch. Any questions? So much of this is common sense. Establishing command. It is now not recommended anymore to establish your command post in the lobby of a high-rise hotel that is burning. Don't ever do that again. Any questions? And there's the secondary device event. That's what I was talking about before. I just had the name of it wrong. Any questions? That is used commonly for terrorist attacks throughout the world. So let's go over some chemical agents. They can be liquid or gas, and when dispersed, they are very effective at killing people. Tokyo subway is one great example. There's some other ones we'll go over. Remove people from the causative agent, decontaminate, treat as appropriate. Any questions? Vessants will burn you. Questions? Don't inhale it. Remove from the causative agent. Excuse me, I inhaled this list. Oh, that's very uncomfortable.
It's the worst.
Any questions on Vessants? So one of the most common ones that was been used worldwide is mustard gas. It was developed in World War I, highly effective. Any questions on mustard gas? Only two known antidotes: ketchup and pickles.
Dude, I said that. I just said that. You said
See,
that.
you're learning.
We're
You're learning.
I was like, I bet you said it like 2 seconds later. It's impressive.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Now my favorite feel the
It
same.
took the whole.
Huh?
Hot dog and buns and mustard gas.
Lucite and Vosgene, not good. Actually, isn't. I'm getting old. My memory's starting to fail me. Isn't Vosgene gas the byproduct of using a carbon tetrachloride extinguisher? I believe it's Vosgene. Huh?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Say it again.
So the reason why you don't use carbon tetrachloride fire extinguishers anymore is when you spray it onto combustible products that are burning, it creates Vosgene gas and it kills you. That's why you can't, that's why they're so valuable if you can find them. You guys didn't know that? Oh, yeah. You didn't know that. Carbon tetrachloride extinguisher? Yeah, they were, it was a fire extinguisher, but it was a cylinder with a pump handle. You can see it like in a lot of Looney Tunes cartoons. That's how they put out fires. And it was like the number one subject. It's an incredible fire extinguisher. It's amazing. But they started finding dead truckers all over the place, lying underneath their trucks. And what they figured out was they all had these carbon tetrachloride extinguishers. They get brake fires and crawl under and then put the brake fire out. Then the Vosgene gas would get out of it. Oh, so that's why you can't use carbon tetrachloride anymore. They actually are.
Like people have them sitting in their house.
Oh, yeah, if you can find them at yard sales or something, they're worth a ton of money.
My ex had one sitting right by the fireplace.
Yeah. They're generally brass.
Yeah.
They're from the 40s and 50s. Yeah. Any questions? Contrary to popular belief, ketchup and pickles do not work on mustard gas. There is no antidote.
Okay.
Any questions? Unless you're immune like a sausage or a hot dog. So pulmonary agents are very popular at terrace because you can disperse them as gases. And they're highly effective, especially in enclosed places. Chlorine's one of the biggest ones. Chlorine we get accidentally. We actually had an MCI here at the Weed Pool back in 92. Took out 28 kids. They all survived. But they had a chlorine exposure where pure chlorine got poured into the pool. Then we just had another one in Reading about 5 or 6 years ago. 2 school buses of kids. Any questions? Chlorine's bad stuff. So phosgene is a product of combustion, similar to carbon monoxide, but way more deadly. Not that carbon monoxide is not deadly, it's also very deadly. Any questions about respiratory agents? Or excuse me, pulmonary agents? If you do survive them, the other thing you're in danger for is not getting your last contact with your package. Because you're making it look good.
Just do a bunch of scenario for night and so.
Yeah, because you didn't have 11 weeks to get it done.
I didn't have for that, at least for the whole class, dude.
Yeah. We started this in January. It's April. Huh?
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell me I'm wrong?
No, I'm not telling you.
So a 9, all a 9 is? It's an 11 with scoliosis,
Formed like our hairs.
right? Do you know scoliosis? You don't know what scoliosis is? It's not funny, I guess. No, sorry, that was very insensitive of me. Good thing class is almost over.
Oh.
So here's a video from the actual sarin gas attack that was done in Tokyo. Again, pulmonary agents, extremely effective. We hope to God this never happens again. These guys, this could have been so much worse if they could have pulled it off the way they wanted to. But this is an example
What
because
would happen?
this could
if
happen
someone got
again.
their hands in a weapon of mass destruction? This is one of the most terrifying scenarios that people can imagine. But it isn't an idle fear. It actually happened in 1995. I'm Jim Lindsay, and this is Lessons Learned. Our topic today is the sarin gas attack that the Japanese cult Ohm Shinrikyo launched in the Tokyo subway system on March 20th, 1995. Ohm Shinrikyo, which translates as Supreme Truth, was a religious cult started in 1984 by Shoko Asahara. He had lost most of his sight as a child, and as a young adult, he studied various strains of Taoism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. These studies eventually convinced him of 2 things: that he was the first enlightened one to appear on earth since Buddha, and that the end of the world was near. Asahara targeted his pitch at disillusioned young people. He was a good recruiter. By 1995, Ohm Shinrikyo had as many as 40,000 followers. Just as important, Ohm Shinrikyo grew rich. By the early 1990s, it had more than $300 million in assets. How did the cult get so wealthy? Partly by running businesses, and partly by requiring members to sign their wealth over to the cult. Ohm Shinrikyo's deep pockets enabled it to secretly master the difficult task of making sarin. First created in the 1930s by Nazi scientists looking for better pesticides, sarin is a deadly nerve agent. It kills by disrupting the ability of nerve to communicate with the rest of the body. Sarin is so toxic that inhaling a single drop can be lethal. During the rush hour on the morning of March 20th, 1995, 5 Ocean Rico agents put a liquid form of sarin into packages made to look like lunch boxes and bottled drinks. Perhaps they were driven by the belief the apocalypse was beginning, or perhaps they wanted to punish Japan because police were about to raid Ocean Rico's offices. Whatever their motives, the Ocean Rico agents boarded 3 subway lines, punctured their packages with umbrellas, and walked away. The liquid sarin leaked out and turned into gas. The results were horrific. Within minutes, commuters lay on the ground gasping for air, blood pouring from their noses and mouths. Said one survivor of the attacks, hell describes it perfectly. 12 people died that day. 4,000 to 6,000 more were injured. The death toll would have been many times higher had Ocean Rico succeeded in creating a more effective way to disperse the deadly sarin gas. Japanese officials discovered after the attack that Ocean Rico had been experimenting for years with chemical and biological weapons. Indeed, the cult had carried out at least 9 biological attacks. They had all failed because the cult hadn't found an effective way to spread the biological agent. And Ocean Rico had used sarin gas at least once before in a previously unexplained incident that killed 7 people in a Tokyo neighborhood. Asahara and his accomplices were charged with murder. In 2004, they were sentenced to death by hanging. Asahara exhausted his legal appeals in 2006. He now awaits execution. What is the lesson of Ocean Rico's sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway system? Just this. Technology makes it possible for groups and individuals to carry out the kinds of attacks that once only governments could undertake. If anything, advances in technology are making it easier for terrorists to contemplate using weapons of mass destruction. The internet makes it far easier to find and share information. Cheaper, more powerful computers and better scientific instruments make it possible for people with basic skills to accomplish things that once required sophisticated laboratories and teams of highly trained, highly skilled scientists. These concerns lie at the heart of the current dispute over news that scientists have discovered a way to transform the H5N1 bird flu virus into a form that could cause a deadly human pandemic. Many scientists worry that this work could eventually be duplicated by
Before 2018.
intent on doing harm. Such debates are only going to grow more and more heated in the years to come as technological advances make it possible to do more and more with less and less training. So here's a question to consider. What steps should society take to protect itself as
Not for you. Nerve agents are the most deadly. Especially the G series. They're much more deadly than PG, R, or X. Don't write that down. That's kidding. It's from film ratings. So you go. Sarin, B agents, Soman, Kaboon. Don't forget your sledge dumbbells. They brought spray nerve agent all over you. Every county in the United States has supply of 2-PAM in case somebody does spray organophosphate. It's probably the easiest way to poison an entire community. There's supposed to be an undisclosed location, but they've changed that now. But you will probably, once you go to work for an agency, hopefully as an EMT, there will be 2-PAM training. And what you do is, your first thing they do is they run that out, is all the responders get treated first. Because if you go down, then there's no one to administer it to the other people. So you inject yourself first, and then you start injecting all the people. And it stops sledge dumbbells. Any questions? Hydrogen cyanide. Canterosol 91, we did it by accident. Anyway, mostly found in industrial settings, even agriculture. And it can make you really sick. Any questions? I have nothing to add to that. And those are definitely the things you will see from those. Any questions? And if you get way too much of a high dosage right before you die, you'll become altered, have seizures, stop breathing, and then your heart will stop. Any questions about metabolic agents? Again, remove them from the causative agent, decontaminate. And for most of these, there is no antidote. Sledge dumbbells is the only one. That's 2-p-ammonatropine. So the cool thing about biological agents like anthrax and stuff and sarin gas is they can be almost completely undetectable. People just start dropping. Any questions? Captain Trips. Most people don't know what that is. It's fictional, so don't worry about it. You know what Captain Trips is? You're just laughing. Stand. Any questions about germs and viruses? All righty. Smallpox. You contaminated blankets, hand them out to people, works very well. Been used for hundreds of years. Not a whole lot you can do about it. It's viral. Unless you're vaccinated, then that's a good thing. If you're not vaccinated, you're probably going to be toast. Any questions? Very high frequency is another virus. Oh, wait, sorry, that's viral and red fever. That's some bad stuff. Causes all your fluid to third space into your cells, out of your vascular system. Any questions? Isn't this exciting? You guys know how to kill lots of people at one time. So bacteria can be treated with antibiotics. Anthrax is a bacteria. That's probably the most common one they use for weapons of mass destruction. It is actually treatable. Any questions about anthrax? Do not mail it to your congressman. That was a big thing a few years ago. They were mailing people in Congress envelopes filled with anthrax. Once again, remove them from the causative agent, decontaminate, treat. The plague. Plague generally comes from rodents and fleas. We've pretty much wiped it out with in first world countries with modern sanitation. But in areas that don't have modern sanitation, or if modern sanitation has been wiped out by a weapon of mass destruction, the plague could easily come back very quickly. Same with cholera. Any questions? That's what it looks like. The plague. Any questions? What is the movie Bring Out Your Dead? Not Life of Brian. Oh well. The movie Bring Out Your Dead. Bring Out Your Dead with the cowbell. It's the can't think. My brain is just toast. Those are some of the funniest movies ever. I mean that. Don't get me wrong. It's Life of Brian's the only one I can think of right now. That's not it. It's a parody of King Arthur. You guys go with the what's the movie? Holy Grail, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Bring out your dead. Everybody's dying from the plague. They're throwing the bodies. I'm not dead yet. You will be. Neurotoxins. These are produced from plants, marine animals, bacteria. You can grow them. Botulism. There it is, botulism right there. Extremely well, works extremely well. Easy to make too.
I do Botox.
No, not, is Botox botulism?
Botox is amazing. I'm pretty sure.
No kidding, I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. So you're injecting botulism into your face? Jesus.
I'm sure it's amazing.
That's some desperate vanity there.
To the everyone.
That's why it's botulism toxin, Botox.
You know what we're.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's plausible. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Not anything I've ever considered. Rice into some nasty stuff. I think you make them castor beans. Any questions? Any questions? All right, the largest biological attack in U.S. history. Less than 5 hours from Weed, California.
A salsa bar in a Taco Time in Gulls, Oregon is the site of the largest bioterrorist.
Still is the
attack in
largest to
history.
this day.
And no, this is not a joke.
Not April Fool's. I remember when this happened.
In India, a spiritual leader named Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh began a new movement. The philosophy of the Rajneeshi movement was an odd mix of capitalism, meditation, and dirty and ethnic jokes. Nonetheless, he managed to accumulate a large following. By the 1980s, his movement had swelled to the tens of thousands. Rajneesh wanted to start a utopia. So with the help of this woman, Ma Anand Sheila, they purchased 64,000 acres, a ranch in Oregon. And it was here that they began building their utopia.
Antelope, Oregon.
7,000 followers.
Right up the road.
moved onto this ranch property. The followers all wore red. They adhered to very strict schedules. Meanwhile, Ma Anand Sheila began calling herself Queen and carrying around a .357 Magnum. The Rajneeshis also began driving around town in a Jeep with a machine gun on the back of it. The plan was to overwhelm these towns by basically taking over their political systems. The Rajneeshis had already taken over a nearby town called Antelope and renamed the town Rajneesh. So the huge influx of these red-clad cultists didn't sit that well with the local conservative small towners in Oregon. The Rajneeshi movement needed ways to inflate their numbers and essentially keep the locals away from the voting polls. What if everyone was too sick to actually go out and vote? In September of 1984, a woman stood at the salsa bar in Taco Time, holding a small bag of her own homemade salsa. She poured it across all of the condiments, and this started what was the largest bioterrorist attack in US history. The group contaminated 10 different fast food restaurants with salmonella over the course of 2 months. It made 757 people sick. It sent a couple dozen people to the hospital. Had they gone with their initial plan of using typhoid fever, it would have been a massacre. When this finally was discovered, it was found that they had set up a fully fledged bioterrorism lab on the compound.
In Antelope, Oregon.
And her co-conspirators were given 20 years in prison, but ultimately only ended up serving 2. And Rajneesh actually didn't serve a day in jail. The attack on the salsa bar at the Taco Time and 9 other fast food restaurants remains the largest bioterrorist attack in US history. Amazingly, that Taco Time is still open. We suggest you skip the salsa bar. Subscribe here and watch more videos.
80s, 1984.
Today there's still.
If you want to learn more about it, Netflix has a documentary. It's called Wild Wild Country.
Yeah, I remember hearing things fairly weird about it.
Oh yeah, it really happened. And they were almost successful. They were gonna try to take over the entire state of Oregon. Yeah, because what they did in Antelope was when they voted, basically they controlled the entire county and the town and everything. And started issuing their own building permits. They built dams, they built reservoirs. And at no cost because they controlled the entire legislature. Huh? Yeah, well, the Vistas, they just do it. They don't even take, they don't even vote. But yes, very similar to the Vistas.
Yeah. Similar.
They were a little, they weren't murdering people and leaving the bodies on A12 though. It's a little bit different. Syndromic surveillance is a real thing, is actually fully up and running now. But it only works if people do their patient care reports immediately when they bring the patient in. And what syndromic surveillance does is the state of California has one giant server. So when you complete your PCR, it's supposed to upload immediately and go across, it's called ISOMA, into a central registry in Sacramento. So the thought is about syndromic surveillance is like when COVID-19 broke out. In Siskiyou County, you may not notice 2 or 3 or 4 extra respiratory cases. But when it's all over the entire state or all over one entire region, the computer will get it. That's what syndromic surveillance is. So that way you can get ahead of it. Unfortunately, EMS's quality control is so poor that people don't get their PCRs done on time. So it kind of makes syndromic surveillance useless. Any questions? Don't be that EMT. Point of distributions I was talking about earlier. That's every county has them for antidotes for weapon terrorist attack, weapons of mass destruction, 2-PAM and atropine. That's what it looks like. Climate controlled, self-contained container. Lots and lots of doses. All right, radiological nuclear devices. There's 4 different types of radiation. Alpha, which is like sunlight, gives you a nice tan. Then beta, which will penetrate through you and see inside for X-ray vision, i.e. X-rays. And then gammas, which will literally eat you alive. Then neutrons, that'll just vaporize you. They're not a big deal. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions? So there are radioactive materials in most hospitals that have nuclear medicine capabilities. They inject isotopes into patients so they can do better imaging. Somebody gets a hold of that, they could make a dirty weapon with them. It is always a concern. I thought I didn't inhale it, bless God. I think I would have learned from the first time. Well, maybe I did. Anyway, both hospitals in Siskiyou County, you have nuclear medicine, so there is radioactive isotopes in both facilities. Any questions? The small dose is not going to hurt you. You can even inject it in, you can use it for imaging, which is why they have it. But in large doses, it could be a problem. Any questions? So if you can split an atom, you can wipe out entire cities with one bomb. And it's been done. Any questions? And even the people that survived the nuclear weapons usually die of radiation poisoning in the next 5 to 10 years. Any questions? We tried decontamination, but once they've been hit, it's usually not going to be good. And there's nothing to shield you from it. Any questions? The biggest and the worst weapon of mass destruction there is, it's a nuclear bomb. This is a video interview of the people that actually did survive the actual nuclear attacks in 1945.
I saw an aircraft like a tiny silver drop entering the sky above Hiroshima. I instantly recognized it as an American plane, as no Japanese aircraft could fly at that altitude at the time. It was just one plane, so I assumed that it was passing by as usual.
I was counting. Ichi ni san.
Screen 4, who did that? I was wiping the desktop. That was when the bomb was dropped. Next.
Took about 45 seconds from the time the bomb left the airplane until it exploded. And I think there wasn't a man in the airplane that wasn't either timing it with his watch or counting or doing something. I was sure the bomb was a dud. I was sure it wasn't gonna work.
After falling for 43 seconds, the time and barometric printers started the firing mechanism. A uranium bullet fired down a barrel into a uranium tunnel. Together, they started a nuclear chain reaction. Solid matter began to come apart, releasing untold quantities of energy.
Any questions about nuclear bombs? So here's the questions about 911 and resources. What do you do? Basically, there's no ICS system. Everybody just started acting on their own.
Yeah, hi. I'm on the 106th floor of the World Trade Center. We heard an explosion on the 105th floor.
The 106th floor?
Yeah,
106, okay.
we have a conference up there. There's about 100 calls up there.
What is your last name?
Hanley.
H-A-N.
We have smoke and it's pretty bad.
This
this is on the 106th floor, right? Okay, we have the job, let me connect you with the fire, okay? Yes, the fire. You have, We have. hold on, let me connect you with the fire, okay? Here, we can't get down the stairs. Hold on, let me connect you with fire. Come on now.
On the 408 West, the fire.
Yeah, hi, I'm on the 106th floor of the, 152 center, we said explosion up here.
Okay, 106th floor. What building are you in? Is it one or two?
One Wall Street.
All right.
One?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's smoke, we had about 100 people up there.
Sit tight. Do not leave, okay? There's a fire or an explosion or something in the building. All right, I want you to stay where you are.
Yeah,
All right, what's your phone number there?
we're on the 106th floor.
Yeah, what's your phone number? I know your phone number.
646,
Yeah,
752,
yeah.
2436.
All right, we're there. We're coming up to get
Let
you.
me just turn some up the outside the window down.
All right, we're on the way.
Huh?
We're on the way, sir.
Okay.
All right, just keep the windows open. If you can open up windows and just sit tight. It's gonna be a while because there's a fire going on downstairs.
Open the windows, let's be quick.
Okay. Just sit tight. All right, just sit tight. We're on the way.
All right, please hurry. All right, got the clear up, please. I got a thank you, please, clear up.
Any questions?
We've got a very dramatic audio timeline of the morning of September 11th. Some of these audio tapes became declassified just last year. Combined with what was previously released, these tapes offer perhaps the most dramatic timeline of the moments the hijackings were taking place. We hear voices of people on the front lines, including a flight attendant on board a hijacked plane. We're going to start with her. Betty Ong. She was on board American Airlines Flight 11 at 8:19 a.m. Eastern Time. And this is just about 27 minutes before that flight hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center. She called her colleagues on the ground. This is the first time that anyone outside those planes finds out what's going on. Let's listen to Betty Ong.
The cockpit's not answering, somebody's staffed in business class. And, I think there's mates that we can't breathe, I don't know, I think we're getting hijacked.
Just 5 minutes later at 8:24 a.m. Eastern Time, just 22 minutes before impact on the North Tower, you hear the haunting voice of the lead hijacker, Mohammed Atta. Boston Air Traffic Control picks up his voice in the cockpit as he's talking to the passengers. Listen to Mohammed Atta.
Is that American 11 trying to call? Well, okay, and take my, that is your key, I got into the airport. And, who's trying to call me here? American 11, are you trying to call? Oh, I am. Everything was okay. But trying to make it known. That's the flight.
Just incredible to hear the voice of the lead hijacker, Mohammed Atta. Now, just over half an hour later, at 9:02 a.m. Eastern Time, air traffic controllers trying to figure out what's going on with the second plane. This is United Airlines Flight 175. Follow the purple track here. It has already looped south of New York, heading north toward the South Tower of the World Trade Center, and two air traffic controllers practically narrate the impact. Take a listen.
Hey, can you look out your window right now? Yeah, can you see guy about 4,000 feet, about 5 East Airport right now? Looks like he's. Yeah, I can. You see guy, is he descending to the building also? He's descending really quick too, yeah. Well, that's 2,500 feet now. He just dropped 800 feet like one sweep. Well, that's another situation. So what kind of airplane is that? Can you guys tell? I don't know. Read out in a minute. I want to hit the building. Wow. What they come up with that? Wow. All building just came apart. Holy smokes.
Take you forward to just about a half hour later, 9:28 a.m. Eastern Time. You've got air traffic control trying to track United Airlines Flight 93. Cleveland Air Traffic Control is trying to get another flight, American Airlines Flight 1060, to help find Flight 93. But that Cleveland controller picks up some audio from inside Flight 93. If you listen carefully, you can hear people screaming, and listen very carefully, you'll hear someone seemingly saying, "We're all going to die in here." Listen.
Right.
That's American 1060.
And of course, just minutes later, that plane hits the ground in southern Pennsylvania in the town of Shanksville. The Rutgers University Law Review has released some of this material to hear some of these haunting audio tapes and other unforgettable moments, including stories that you've not heard before. Tune into CNN's documentary Footnotes of 9/11 with Drew Griffin.
Here's some actual footage people got of the ground. Give me an idea. Back before everybody had a video on their cell phone.
Let's just get back. Get back. John?
It's more collapsed.
Hey, you okay? Yeah.
Yeah, complete darkness. Dust is gonna get in the buffet.
Yes, I thought it was a third plane though, but no, it was three. The whole top came out, the whole top came out. And then it slowed, all of a sudden I seen the smoke follow, I was like, I was standing next to the parents, and all of a sudden I couldn't see him, we were under the truck. The top came off.
It's American Death Incident.
And the fire door on 76 was locked.
I think that's a small issue right about now.
Jason, this is you. Look at this shit, man. Can you believe this?
Anybody need some water? I can't get anybody take coffee.
Medical team's trying to go in.
Everybody goes straight and the ambulance is about 100 feet ahead.
You guys going and try to set up medical stations.
Close I live. I close I live. She's cutting down on me. Here it comes. I'm getting behind the car. It's incredible. Okay, I'm gonna have to go find people who need help. I don't think I'm one of them. You okay, sir? Okay. Can I just get a tube off your respirator? Can I get a tube? I'm getting a couple of clean breaths.
Can't do that anymore. Positive pressure, SCBA's.
About you. This is the car I hit behind to save my life. The right maybe is this one. There's all these noises. I think I don't know what it is. This is someone needs. Anybody need a doctor? Don't have oxygen. Hey, that guy needs some oxygen. Someone can share it with him. 10-4. Thanks.
No, it's pass devices. Those are not moving firefighters.
Right there.
You don't move for 20 or 30 seconds, that goes off, then behind you, you're trapped. It's hundreds of them going off at the same time. They're all buried inside.
Get the people out. They're small, smoke is still going on. So far, I just see some people in the oxygen from the dust. Still going trauma. Gonna go wash my eyes out. Let's make it good. Living north on the West Side Highway. You guys going in? Yeah. Come with you. You know, I don't want to get too much closer because the more buildings that come down, never not going to help anybody. All right, I think we should. Yeah. Let's use it. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Let's just wait right here. Let's just station up right here. Okay. All right. Why don't we set up? Can you hang on piece from the cold here? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Did we just start another explode, okay? Yeah, handing out gloves and masks. The consensus is, it's too unsafe to go in there. Just gonna wait there until they bring some people out. I slipped out, there's some firemen, there's some first aid stuff. You know what? Anything, why don't we just set this up as a little mobile hospital unit right here, okay?
Ambulance. Ladder truck, ambulance, battalion, chief car. All right. Always remember the possibility of secondary devices. Remember the primary blast injuries, direct waves. Will blow out all the organs. Then the secondary blast injuries, the shrapnel comes. Which then gives penetrating injuries. Any questions? Actually, I think I have video of that. You already watched the video of the Beirut ammonium nitrate explosion? Probably in here. You can actually see the blast wave. Maybe it's next. There it is. Maybe not.
Welcome to weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. All right, hold on. You can actually see the blast wave.
I know.
Blast wave.
August 4th, a devastating explosion rocked Beirut, Lebanon. The blast killed more than 100 people and injured thousands. The explosion likely originated at a warehouse that stored thousands of tons of ammonium nitrate, a fertilizer chemical.
Very bad idea. Store
Ammonium
thousands of tons
nitrate
of
is a
ammonium
salt
nitrate.
made from ammonium and nitric acid, and it's highly explosive. It can be made cheaply, and it's often used to increase the nitrogen content of fertilizers. But it has a dangerous downside.